The kids can go to junior church if they want. Miss Linda's going to be out there. And I know you always have fun doing crafts.
She got a big group today.
Yeah, she's going to be busy. God bless her. Good morning again, everybody.
Good morning.
This morning I want to talk about faith for a few minutes here. And it says in Luke chapter 17, so the Lord said, if you have the faith as a mustard seed, you can move mountains. And so that's not, a mustard seed was pretty tiny. And most of us fail in faith, but I read something about this man that was walking around the park, and he came to where the kids were playing baseball. And he stopped and he asked one of the little boys that was sitting in the dugout, he said, what's the score? And the little boy said, 18-0, and we're losing. And the man said to him, he said, I guess you're kind of disappointed and discouraged. And he said, the little boy said, why should I be discouraged? We haven't even gotten up to bat yet. Now, if you know baseball and softball, you know that if you're down 18-0 in the beginning of the first inning, you might have a problem. But kids pretty much have they're pretty optimistic. And you think about it. Your favorite team, and whether you like baseball, football, basketball, your favorite team is playing. And they might be down by a pretty good number, but you're still, come on, you can do it. You can come back. And over the weekend, Friday night, we went to see Addison play, and they were playing basketball. It was the boys' basketball team, and they were in the sectionals, and they were, for the first quarter, they were neck and neck. Second quarter, neck and neck. The other team was ahead at halftime, but only by 1 or 2 baskets. And the third quarter started, and they faltered. Addison faltered just a touch, but not bad. They dropped another basket or so back. And then the fourth quarter came, and it had massive swings back and forth. And we're sitting there, everybody from Addison is going, you can do it, come on, you can do this. And the other team wasn't that much better, but they were a little bit better. And they were a little bit taller, too. That sure helped. I think they had probably 4 inches on the average around the whole court. But in the end, Addison lost. But right up until about 2 minutes left in the game, we were still saying, there's still a chance, there's still hope. And it's kind of like in our walk with Christ, we should have that optimism. That's actually, Jesus said in Mark chapter 10, it's recorded, that he said, you have to have the faith of a little child. You know, he thought highly of children. He really did. And you have to have the faith of a child. And we are so fortunate because we have eternity ahead of us. As Christians, we have eternity. And so, shouldn't we always be optimistic? Wouldn't you think?
Amen.
And we should be, but we're not. I know there's days when we're all down. And so what do you do when you're down? What do you think? Because, you know, here we are. We're children of the King of Kings. And we're down. We think that life is so tough. But, you know, what you have to remember is with God, anything is possible. Anything is possible. He can fix anything.
That's right.
And so we have to keep that in mind. And when those tough times hit, you've got to remember that we have eternity ahead of us. So it's kind of like, I heard somebody say the one time that it was a talk show host that was talking, and she said, my son said to me the other day, he said, Mom, I finally figured it out. Life is like a chess game. You move here, you move there, you move there, you move there. But he said the good thing about the chess game that we're playing is we know how it ends. We get to the king every time. We get to him. And isn't that neat the way And that was a kid that thought that up. And it is so true, because we shouldn't, even though we're having a bad day or a rough time in life, we shouldn't let it control us, because we know we have eternity ahead of us. I mean, what could be better? We're going to get to sit with the King of Kings. We're his royal children. I mean, there's nothing any better. Forever. Forever and ever and ever. And I just, I want you to think about one thing. That song that we did, Rivers of Babylon. The Jewish nation was taken into captivity into Babylon because they had disobeyed God so many times. He brought Babylon in on them, and they took them. And they killed a lot. And they took them to be slaves, basically. And that's what that song is all about, because here they are in a strange land. How can they sing praises in a strange land? Because they're not in their homes. They're trapped in Babylon. But God had told them through the prophets that after so long, he would forgive them and return them back home. But can you imagine the faith that they must have had to believe that? Because they did get back home. They eventually got back home. But for 70 years, they were held in captivity in Babylon. Can you imagine the faith that they must have had? Because God always said there would be a remnant that would follow him and love him and not disobey him. And that remnant survived in Babylon and prospered. And then they were able to come back. But can you imagine the faith that they must have had being slaves in Babylon? So this week, be optimistic. Because you're children of the royal king. And so you need to be optimistic all the time. And help those that aren't. Pat them on the back and kind of lift them up a little bit. So join me in prayer. Lord, we hope you enjoyed the singing this morning. I know you did, because I could feel you moving through the congregation, because it was good singing. And I know you enjoyed it, and I think we all enjoyed it too. I know I did. And Lord, thank you for the love you give us. Thank you for the blessings you pour out on us daily. Pour that optimism into our hearts so that we are always upbeat, thinking of eternity with you and how lucky we are. And help us to spread that word and to pass that out to everyone around us. And Lord, thank you for all these folks that are here this morning. And thank you for all the blessings you give us. But most of all, thank you for sending your Son. We're going to sit down at the table in the next minute or two and spend a few minutes partaking of the bread and the drink with you and with Jesus. And Lord, thank you for sending him and making it possible for us to spend eternity with you. Lord, bless all these folks that are here, all the ones that couldn't be here, the kids that are here today, and the ones that are in the school. Bless that school. And Lord, just touch our community around us and help us to be a shining light to the community. Thank you again, Lord, for all you give us and have done for us. We ask everything in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Folks, if you would come forward, please.